The cold did not knock, it just came in slow and quiet, like a thief in the night, and it stayed. In old homes there was no switch to make heat, no warm air from vents, no soft hum of machines, just stone walls, wooden floors, and long nights. People had to fight the cold with what they had, and what they had was simple but very smart. Now imagine a room with no fire, no heater, just a bed in the corner. You would think sleep would be hard, but it was not, because they knew a secret, a layout, a way to trap heat using nothing but cloth, straw, and space. This was not magic, it was method, and it worked so well that even in the coldest nights, people woke up warm. Today we step into that past. We uncover how an old bed setup turned freezing rooms into places of rest, and why this forgotten idea might still surprise you. Cold does not just come from the air, it rises from below. The ground holds cold like a deep well, and if your bed sits on it, the cold climbs up slowly into your body. Old homes knew this, so they lifted the bed, not too high, just enough. A simple wooden frame, sometimes rough, sometimes creaky, but always raised. That small gap between bed and floor made a big difference. Air could move under the bed, and that moving air stopped the cold from settling. It broke the path of cold from ground to body. Then came the layer, straw, dry leaves, or even old cloth, packed under or within the bed base. This was not for comfort alone, it was insulation. It trapped air, and trapped air holds warmth. So before the blankets, before the covers, the battle was already half won. Just by lifting the body off the ground and adding a simple barrier, one blanket is never enough in the cold, but many thin layers, they change everything. Old beds were not made with one thick cover, they were built in steps. First a base cloth, then a soft layer, then another and another. Each layer held a bit of air, and that air stayed warm. It was like building a wall, but with fabric. Each piece stopped heat from escaping too fast. And here is the smart part. The top layer was often heavy, not just for weight, but to press down the warm air inside. It sealed the heat in. People did not toss and turn as much because the layers hugged them gently. It made a small warm space around the body. It was not just about piling things on. It was about order, light below, heavy above, soft inside, tight outside. A simple idea, but it made a huge difference in rooms where breath could turn to mist. In some places, the bed itself became a small room. Wooden frames with sides, sometimes even a cover above, created a box, not a prison, but a shield. Curtains or cloth hung around the edges, closing off the space. This trapped heat close to the body. The warmth from breathing, from skin, from the layers, it all stayed inside. Even if the room was cold, the space inside the bed stayed warm. Think of it like a nest, small, safe, and sealed. People would step into this space, pull the cloth closed, and the cold would stay outside. It may seem simple, but this idea was powerful. It turned a large cold room into a small warm pocket, and once inside, the body needed less effort to stay warm. There was no fire in the room, but there was heat, the human body. Old designs worked with this heat, not against it. The layout kept warmth close. It stopped it from escaping too fast. It used tight spaces, layered cloth, and soft materials to hold that heat near the skin. Even the position of sleep mattered. Curled slightly, arms close, legs bent, this reduced space and kept warmth in. Sometimes people shared beds, not just for company, but for heat. Two bodies create more warmth than one, and the bed layout helped keep that shared heat inside. It was a system, every part worked together. The bed did not make heat, it kept it, and that was enough. Not all cloth is equal, not all filling works the same. Old beds used what was available, but they chose wisely. Wool was prized, it kept warmth even when damp, it trapped air well and lasted long. Straw was common too, dry and packed, it created pockets of air. It was cheap, easy to replace, and worked well under layers. Feathers, when available, added softness and more insulation. They held air better than most materials. Even old rags had a place. Nothing was wasted. Everything added a layer, and every layer added warmth. The key was dryness. Wet material loses its power, so beds were kept as dry as possible, often aired during the day. Simple materials, used in smart ways, built a strong defense against the cold. Even the best bed cannot fight a wild room. People knew two-block drafts. Small cracks in walls were sealed with cloth or mud. Windows were covered at night. The bed was placed away from doors, away from open spaces where wind could sneak in. Corners were often chosen. Two walls gave more shelter than one. Sometimes a simple rug or mat was placed around the bed area, adding another layer between the cold floor and the sleeping space. The goal was clear: slow the cold, stop the wind, keep the warm air where it belongs. The bed was the center, but the room supported it. Together they made survival not just possible, but comfortable. Picture it now: the night is deep, the air is cold enough to bite. You step into the bed, the layers welcome you, the cloth falls around you, closing the space. At first it feels cool, then slowly your body warms the air, the layers hold it, the space shrinks around you just enough, your breath adds warmth, your stillness keeps it. Outside the room stays cold, but inside it changes. Minutes pass and the cold fades. You feel safe, you feel warm. This was not luck, this was design, a system. Built over time, tested by need, and passed down without books, without machines, just by living. Today we have heaters, electric blankets, warm homes, but energy is not always cheap and heat is not always easy. This old layout still has lessons. Layering works, trapping air works, reducing space works. Even now people use similar ideas in camping, in survival, in simple living. You do not need much to stay warm, you need the right setup. The past was not weak, it was smart, and sometimes looking back gives us answers we forgot we had. There is something powerful in simple ideas. No wires, no fuel, no noise, just wood, cloth, and thought. The old bed insulation layout was not built in a day. It grew from need, from cold nights, from trial and error. It shows us that comfort does not always come from complex things. Sometimes it comes from understanding how the world works and working with it. So next time you feel the cold, think of that small bed in a quiet room, holding warmth like a secret. Because in that simple space, people did not just survive the cold, they mastered it. Kindly like and subscribe for more videos.